Okay, hey, hi everyone. I have been getting a lot of questions on how I do my Jeff the Killer makeup, and it's Halloween season, so here's a little tutorial. I go in with a light gray on a small brush, and I'm going to start out by stenciling where I'm going to want the mouth to be. And I'm going to match that on both sides, as you can see here. It's just kind of like a little outline and a guide for me. Then I'm going to take this liquid latex. I usually get mine from Walmart, you can get it from Spirit Halloween. I'm going to take a small little brush and dab it into the liquid latex, and I'm just going to lightly dab it over the lines that I just made. I'm going to do that on both sides, and then I'm going to let it dry for a minute. Okay, and then after it dries out for a second, I'm going to add another layer on top of it. I usually do about 3 layers in total, and it just kind of adds a bit of a thickness. You can add more layers or less layers, whatever you feel like. Here's me moving my mouth. I like to kind of stretch out my mouth a bit just so I'll be able to move it more when the liquid dries. And then I'm going to go in with this little red and this little rounded brush. I'm just going to lightly go over it and kind of color match it to my skin tone. You don't have to do this, but I feel like it just blends better when I put the white face paint over the top of it. Which, I mean, in the end doesn't really matter because it's going to be covered in a ton of makeup, but I like it. Okay, and then after I do that, I'm going to go in with my white face paint. They have the stick version, they have the cream version. This is a brand called Mehron. It's on Amazon. It's pretty cheap. I really like it. It's my go-to white face paint. Stays pretty easily. I used to use the cream a lot. I now really only use the stick. But here's me putting it on my face. You'll see it's super easy to apply. And then once I have it on my face, I like to blend it. I use a brush, as you can see here, but I know a lot of people like to use beauty blenders. You can really use whatever you want to blend it out. This is just my preference. After I get it all blended out on there, I go over to the bottom half of my face and I lightly dab it onto the scarring that I just made. And after I get it all over there, then I do it on my chin and down on my neck. I like to do a second layer sometimes, just because sometimes it's not as super pigmented as I'd like it to be. And then as you'll see here, there is still some streaking, so to fix that, I like to go in with this powder base that I have. You'll see I just kind of blend it out and powder it on, and it gets rid of all of those little wrinkles and creases that I had. As you'll see right about here, ta-da! And then that is my base, and after I'm done with that, I like to put on a finishing setting spray, just to kind of keep it all in place when I start to do the rest of my eyeshadow and the rest of my makeup on top of it. I let that dry, which usually takes a minute, and then I do a little bit of powder to go on top of it, just in case the water left any watermarks. And then I go in with this little eyeshadow brush. I'm going to take some black eyeshadow, and I'm going to contour. I contour my nose, my cheeks, and my chin. And this is definitely a trust the process because I look absolutely insane right here. But I do a bit more on my neck, and then I go in and I blend it out using that white that I was using beforehand. And it works great. I just blend, and once I have my whole face blended, as you can see right here, I'm going to do my eyebrows. I use a angled brush and I go in with a black. As you'll see me doing right here, I just trace where my eyebrows already are, as you can see here. And then after I go in, I'm going to make that a bit thicker, and I'm going to match that right onto the other side, and they're going to be, I try to make them as even as possible. Sometimes they're not, but that's just how eyebrows are. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to blend the fronts of them just a little bit so they don't look as dark, and then go in and touch it up with a little bit of gray. Okay, and here's me going in with some eyeliner. I like to use a pencil and I just get it right in my waterline. It can be as messy as possible, it doesn't matter, it just needs to be in the waterline. It makes my eyes pop more, adds a bit of more dimension, and then I'm going to go in with eyeshadow. I do a black eyeshadow, I get underneath the eye, I get over the top of the eye, right in the inner corner, and you're going to match that on both sides, just as dark as possible. And then I'm going to go in with some mascara, and I'm going to do it on my bottom lash. That's just the way that I like to do it. I don't do it on my top lashes, and I do it on both sides. And then I go in with my nose. I do a little angled brush, and I do a black eyeshadow, and I go in and I make little triangles on both sides of the nose. and then we are going to do the mouth, which is your guys' favorite part. And I start with using a black pencil or a black eyeliner, and I go right in the middle and I kind of outline it. And then I go in with a black lipstick and I kind of messily put it on my lips, just right in the middle. And then after that, we're going to come in with a red eyeshadow, and I'm just going to kind of lightly trace it over the top, blend it into my lips. Just lots of red, both sides. And then I do a red lipstick. And we're going to start making little tiny lines, which are going to be the base for where our blood is going to be. And we're going to kind of lengthen them in a second. Here's me using a small brush, and I get it red, and I just start making the lines longer. I do more of them. I do the top of my lip, I do the bottom of my lip. Ta-da! And then I also like to do blood coming out of my nose, so I do a little line right there. And then I use fake blood. This is Jug of Blood. You can find it at Spirit Halloween. It lasts forever. And this is Mehron blood, which is coagulated and super messy, and we're going to use that in a second. But first we start out with this blood, and we just lightly pat it on there. We spread it out. Woo! Going all the way down my chin. I do it on my neck as well. Goes all the way down. As I always say, the more blood, the better. The more blood I have on here, the better it looks. I spread it out with my fingers. I have little dots around my face. And then I'm going to come in with the coagulated blood. That's what I was saying right there. It's very thick, it's very messy, it gets everywhere. But I love the way it looks. It doesn't dry as fast as the Spirit Halloween blood, and it adds a bit more dimension. Then I clean off my piercings with a wet Q-tip, if you have piercings. And then I like to put on my little hoodie, which I do the blood on my hoodie with Spirit Halloween blood. I just threw it on there. Then I put in my contacts. They're like absolutely terrifying. I do another set of the setting spray. Woo! Then I wear a wig. I used to use my natural hair, but I'm bleaching it right now. You can tell. So here's me adding more dimension to my makeup, because after I put the wig on, I was like, I need more blood, and I need to add more to my eye makeup because there's too much empty space. So here's me adding blood, and then here's me using the angled brush to do little lines and add more dimension to my eye makeup. And that is basically it. If you have any more questions, leave them down in my comments. If you want to see how I styled the wig, I can do a tutorial for you. But that's my makeup. Yay!